that reading is not taking place. And why is the reading not taking place? Because there is no connection between the book and the reader. And there should be some medium, and we must feel. If we don't feel after getting such a good education, we are ruthless, cruel people. We can't afford to be that. And especially Arunachali people are so gifted in artwork. Only because of TV and that vision of connection with nature is getting broken. Whereas our olden days, our village children were so beautiful and creative. Very beautiful works they used to bring out. The thing, left foot, right feet in the morning, feet at night. Our own traditional history record, because all that we have is written by foreigners.
Hello viewers, welcome to this space. Actually, it's quite an honor for all of us, the whole space team, to be present at Bamboosa Library to acquaint you with a person who started a youth library movement, and of course a Padma Shri Award winner as well, though he doesn't approve of that much, but we'll be interacting with him real soon. Hello sir, welcome to the space. Quite an honor to have you. Sir, so many, as you shared already, that many of the paper have already printed about you and your whole story, how it all started, right? What is the situation of Bamboosa Library? Where is the data yet? Is it reaching out to the youth?
Well, the need for a place where the readers can come together, that is a very important phase of the reading movement in Arunachal. Most of the time the libraries were there, but it was not a place where the young people could get attracted and come together. So we felt that the reading movement has taken a very it has been dragging in spite of all that effort. That reading is not taking place. And why is the reading not taking place? Because there is no connection between the book and the reader. And there should be some medium, some agents who will connect up the book, and it has to be in a certain environment. It can't be just anywhere in the thing. And school was definitely, we found that not the place for that, because the school was concerned with so many other things, that reading was a very, very elementary or sidelined thing. Hardly any school teaches reading as a science, though it's the very basis of all learning. But we have not been trained in that. The Indian schools have not been paying much attention. So more so in Arunachal, where we have accepted English as a medium. So we found that there is a need for a place where young people can come together. But that is not possible for any individual or a few group of individuals. We require the right patronage by the state administration or the district administration. And fortunately, they came together. A very enlightened education minister and a very proactive and far-sighted district administration, a deputy commissioner, when they take the lead to set up a place where the young people can freely come together, interact and browse through the books, then nothing else more beautiful can come than the Bamboosa Library. So in 2007, May, this month, on 18th May, a little library, a single room library was inaugurated in 2007 by the then Deputy Commissioner, now Commissioner, Prashant Lokhande. He is one of our chief patrons. And the library, as a young children's library itself, came to Arunachal thanks to the AWIC organization in Delhi, and they presented the first children's library collection to the then Education Minister, present Deputy CM, Shri Chaunamenji, and he passed it on to me. He entrusted me. I am a trustee of the important assignment he has given to me.
Okay.
So, on behalf of the state government, the district administration, and the young people of Arunachal, I am part of this movement. That's how the library this library has come about.
Okay, sir, you have very rightly stated that the reading in general have always been linked to. I mean, it has been always been detached in school curriculum. So as I was, I always thought reading was for studying. I never thought reading could help me in cope up with many situations. So coming back to the point, how do you think reading is helpful for personal growth of a person on so many aspects? What do you think on that?
During the last 15 years, during my entire life in Arunachal, it's the 42nd year, and I have found that it is the reading which has transformed the young people. It is the reading which has brought joy into the life of the children in the hostel, especially in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, till late 90s. It was the hostel which was the only place for learning, but it was becoming a very monotonous, mechanical, hard life for the young people. So the only way to make reading meaningful was to create a joyful environment. Reading has to be a joyful activity. Reading is not to score marks. Reading is not to develop familiarity with subject knowledge. No, it is to create an intrinsic joy within that would transform us as an individual, and we start looking at life in a much larger perspective, and it makes us think, and it develops a feeling for us, for others, those who are deprived in any sense. And all these the processes I have seen during the last 40 years.
Okay.
So especially the last 15 years, I am very closely connected almost on a day-to-day basis with the young readers who come to the libraries, and the movement as such, those who are very experienced or very joyfully they have developed as readers. They have gone to the next phase called activists.
Okay.
They not only read, they share the joy of reading with others. So our basic philosophy, as we all share that, or all our volunteers will tell you the same thing, that our basic philosophy is that if reader cannot come to books, books must go to readers. So that will be successful only if it is a joyful thing. You would not like someone to give you a most unpleasant thing. So it can be only in the form of a joyful experience. So we have tried to, all these years we have been trying, especially last 15 years. But I would say that it's the whole process of my life in Arunachal has been in retrospect, in looking back, I would say it has been an effort to spread the joy of reading.
Wow.
Because every day I felt that the children in the hostel should go to bed in a very happy mood, listening to a good book or enjoying the fun of story, poem, excitement. All these have really transformed me as a person from a quiet, timid person to someone who enjoys life with young people.
Yeah. So, sir, one of the questions that it came onto my mind while coming reaching out to you is that technology, cell phone is so available, it's right out there.
Yes.
And books in general have come into Kindle, you see, PDF format. Somehow it has helped people to access the reading more easily, but yet at the same time it has its own detrimental consequences.
Yes.
So what is your view on that?
This is a question which we have been discussing on so many platforms, and it is universally accepted that both are not mutually exclusive. They have to go hand in hand, because the education system, and especially the pandemic has called for the utilization of technology. So far, very good. But more than that, if you think of talking, or if you talk about reading itself as a science or as a skill, then you need book and book alone. Fortunately for Arunachal, we do not have internet connectivity everywhere. We do not have electricity everywhere. So again, people, if not for their liking, they have to go back to the books. But even if they go back happily, we will be the happier.
Okay.
So that is what a library like Bamboosa Library or the Apne Library or the Dibang Library in Roing, we have been trying to do. Electricity facilities are meant to support us to make reading a more joyful experience. So they may facilitate you. For example, one of the activities in the library movement is to develop the creativity of the young people, to discover their talents, because there's so much of young talent in especially in the rural children. For example, they are very artistically oriented. They can produce a lot of beautiful paintings.
Yeah.
But olden days, when there was no net connectivity, we have to help the children to draw, put it in an envelope, send it to the post office. It will take 1 month to reach a magazine. But today, within seconds, any of our library volunteers can just take a scan of with a mobile and click the magazine like Chakmak, Children's Magazine, Children's World. They are able to. So technology has been useful to us. Plus also, organizations like the Pratham with their Story Weaver, they have uploaded all their books for free downloading in the internet.
Okay.
There's a Story Weaver website is there. You can download those books for free. You can translate it in your own language. You can make audio versions of it.
Alright.
In your language.
Is it a website? Is
Yeah, they have created a free for all website.
Okay. How
Yes,
good is that?
storyweaver.org. And fortunately, Pratham has also been showing interest in Arunachal languages. Our neighboring district, Dibang Valley, the Idu Mishmi Cultural Literary Society, they have already teamed up with Pratham, and they have already brought out many books. 15, 16 books have already been brought out in e-book form in the Pratham platform.
Okay.
And another 50 to 60 books are in the pipeline. This can transform our Arunachal languages. So technology is not an enemy for us. If we know how to use it, definitely it's useful. But a person should be, or a young people should be guided as to when to switch it off and when to switch it on. Even they say, we say in Indian languages, even honey can be a poison if you do it overdose.
Yeah.
So we
Quite
have to
right.
limit it within limits and the right time. Use a material in the right time, in the right way, it will be useful.
Yeah. So, Uncle Moosa, that's one of the quite famous name you have. Can I call you that, right?
Yes, most welcome.
So, Uncle Moosa, I grew up in Itanagar basically. So I saw number of bookstore getting minimized day by year as the year come by. Even one of the most, I won't mention the name, but one of the most famous bookstores. Yeah. It's not selling it's only selling academic books these days. Okay. So it has become one of the concern. And the reading numbers are gradually also declining. Library, state library, and everywhere library is getting empty day by day. So, do you feel concerned about that? Or what are your opinions on that?
In fact, see, in Arunachal, reading has been more or less confined to the textbooks. And that is precisely because we have been depending only on English and a little bit on Hindi. We have neglected, it is a historical evolution. We won't blame anyone for that. But we have our society, our state has neglected mother tongue for the last 60 years or so. 6 decades. So obviously, when English is not even our third language, we may not have the right orientation to read as a Keralite would feel for reading Malayalam books, or a Tamil person or a Maharashtrian would feel for reading Marathi. That would not come here. So there is nothing, I don't think there is so much of a concern. But the concern should be among the elite educated people who have stopped reading. They have to think. They should be doing the thinking, not the common people. Common people, their parents, the first generation learners, even their parents were not reading even now. In fact, I would say there's lot of, with the movement and this sort of awareness going all over the state, I would say last 4 or 5 years, I'm so glad all the state, many district administration units are encouraging youth activities, book activities. For example, Dibang Valley has been last 5 years they have been conducting, Lower Dibang Valley has been conducting the Joy of Reading Festival in November. Before that, we used to do work with the district libraries, exhibitions. And in Lohit and Anjao Valley and the old undivided Lohit Valley, we have been doing exhibitions right from 98. Anini got the first ever book exhibition in 2000. So, with so much of activities, far more people have gotten access to books, and we have been encouraging the people to buy books, and where they cannot buy, we have been gifting away as some excuse or other, conducting some program, gifting away books. So I don't think the what you tell, the situation may be only confined to the elite in a few cities, but as the other places, but for this corona is an exception. Otherwise, lot of book exhibits have been going on. People have been buying books. This library was set up in 2007 May, when, as I told you, the AWAC gifted the first children's library to the children of Lohit and presented it to Honorable Chona Menji, and he in turn entrusted the task to me as a trustee of the young people of Arunachal, and that's how the library got started. And the then DC Lohit, Prashant Lokhandiji, he provided a single room for the library and an attached room for the office thing. Okay, that's how we started with. Of course, not this building, it was another building. So we have, thanks to the AWAC's support, we have got a gift of around 8,000 books from an American organization, Om Prakash Foundation. Then the state director of libraries have been very gracious to gift us twice very handsome books. And also the Rajaram Mohan Rai Foundation helped us to set up a children's corner, and the CRPF has gifted us some books, and there are so many well-wishers who have contributed books of our choice or their choice. Okay. They felt that those books are very lovely. For example, we have an Englishman, Mr. Simon Smith from UK.
Can we see it? Can we see it?
Please. Let me show that. We have just kept the Mr. Simon Smith's book. Last 10 years he has been contributing every year a packet of books. Every year he asks us, what type of books would you need for the next year? I have met him only for 10 minutes in a British Council conference in Hyderabad, but he has become such an ardent supporter of the youth library movement. And we have distributed these books to other libraries also. But this is the latest ones, we are so honored and privileged by such people. Then a professor in Singapore University, he has never met me. Suddenly he telephoned from Singapore saying that we want to gift a big carton, 4 cartons of books for young people. So like this, people have been so generous to gift us, and there are people who contribute every year some amount for supporting, because these magazines require money. Otherwise we don't buy many books. We focusing only on the books gifted by people. So this is all totally a people's library gifted by well-wishers. But the magazine subscription we have to renew. So for that many people contribute for this thing. Plus much more expenditure is in conducting reading campaign activities. It involves traveling, it involves expenditure on refreshments, we organize programs, and then book exhibitions. We have to have volunteers, because as I told you, the whole movement, youth library movement, is a voluntary effort. It's a hand-holding of several people. Some are physically visible here, some are invisible, they are distant, but they are all part of the movement. They own up the library movement as much as we say that it is ours. They also will feel, yes, it is ours also. So that is a great happiness for us. You can see these hardbound books. These hardbound books are meant for young, very young, little ones. 2 years, 1 year old, 2 years old. These are the books. Nothing will happen. Children can feel. Now, in our country, in Arunachal, we always, library says, don't touch the book, I will give you. That's not the case here. He said, take the book which you like. All the children can sit here, our volunteers will guide them, what book do you want, okay, you search these. So these books are hardbound, so we don't have to worry at all, and they are very, very colorful, so the children would feel very happy. Their emotional thing, and if they have any tensions in their home because of lack of, parents may be busy with their office work, they are not getting, many of our children unfortunately are being looked after by ayahs. They won't get the emotional connection support, but library can provide. Our volunteers are friendly. We don't scold them, we don't issue directives to them, don't do this, don't do. They are free to take any book what they like, play with them, look at them. These are meant for free. And as we go class 4, 5, and like that it comes. And then we have these magazines. New magazines are always put up here, so that the children can also freely take and look at the pictures. And these magazines have been doing a wonderful support to the library movement, I would say, because every month a new issue comes. So children will get very happy looking at the new pictures, what is the comic, and they'll joke. When we started with, we had some government school students who were Hindi speakers. So there was a magazine called Nandan. It has stopped because of this corona. They have not started, from Hindustan Times. Because they were very comfortable with Hindi, they were waiting for when the issue of Nandan will come every month, and there will be a chase for who will take the book, the magazine first. So this enthusiasm then later on spread to the English magazines. Whereas in other libraries where our Arunachali children were there, they were comfortable and they enjoyed looking at children's. This was their favorite magazine. And this magazine is very special for one reason. They generously encourage children's activities. You see, the whole magazine used to be full of children's materials, artwork. This now, unfortunately, because of corona, they have reduced the pages. But otherwise, there will be 16 pages of artwork by the children. That means 16 to 9 each, nearly 100 pieces by the children from across the country. And each of them get 100 rupees for an artwork. And their photo published, their name published, their school or library or anything. And so many of our own children have got their stories published, artwork published. So they used to, as soon as the children's magazine come, they will rush. Who has got the first? I want to read fast. So then we have a little more. Then we have the fiction for primary, middle, and secondary level. This all types are there. We have a good collection of folk tales.
Oh yes, my niece love this. Diary of
Okay. That is there, but there are very good Indian versions also. These folk tales, they are all very good, and almost we don't have that sort of thing, but there are story or the thing. Ruskin Bond's write, some of the writings are very look at life in a different way. But then this our Indian tradition of folk tales, which may not be aware to about many people. Now we have also some books on India, Arunachal, which we have kept separately. A small section for children's books in Hindi. We don't have many for children because we found that library, Teju, the Hindi readers are less. But in villages, we have sent maximum books for children, the village libraries, where some of the parents or grown-ups also can come and read, the neo-literates and then dropouts. They would like to come and read the Hindi one. They won't be able to read the English. Another model which we have been strongly advocating is creating local history, our own traditional history record, because all that we have is written by foreigners on 19th century or 20th, so mid-20th. After Verrier Elvin, there has not been real work. Only now a few writers, as you are mentioning, Madam Mama has made a mark by writing on Arunachal life. But we have a very good model, Laura Ingalls Wilder from America, who mid-19th century, second half of 19th century, she as a little child migrated towards Central America from the eastern coast, her parents. She has described her life as a little child growing up and the challenges of life. Now this is worth replicating in our own context. So life in Subansiri Hills or Lohit Hills, Anjao Hills, Dibang Valley, this almost similar. If our young people can start recording those their stories of their own life or their parents or grandparents. We have written, got our library readers. He said, when you go home in vacation, interview your grandma. interview your parents, ask about their childhood, how it was like. And we found some Russian books also. This when my dad was a little kid. That's a very famous book, Russian, delightful. That has greatly influenced me. And this Laura Ingalls Wilder. Then he said we have brought out more than 40 stories of our library volunteers have been published in various magazines. And different activity books are there. Some for teachers. A lot of books for teachers, helping them to connect with the life better, make the subjects more interesting. In fact, teachers should use a library in a very effective way, but unfortunately it doesn't happen.
One of the question that I actually wanted to ask you is that, I mean, for our age, right, somewhere in their 20s, who have never started reading in their life, what would be, a good book to start with?
Well, it's very difficult to say anyone,
no,
because I shouldn't be the right person to say, because a person's interest varies. People like us who have grown up in 50s and 60s, we had our thing. Obviously, we were influenced by the classical British tradition. So definitely preference was there. But now reading has taken much more. We are influenced by American writers, African writers. There are they. But so I would not be able to suggest. But I would suggest like these books like Laura Ingalls Wilder. For an Arunachali young reader, Laura Ingalls Wilder is a very good book, because it will make us feel that, oh, I must record the life of my people, which is unfortunately not there. So I would suggest definitely that.
So on our earlier discussion, we talk about how the number of reader in general are declining, right? So what could government can do? Is there any way of government can really help in boosting up the readers in the state?
It's a very difficult job for a government. Only proactive officers can play a certain role. But even then, they won't be... See, reading is a very, very personal, intrinsic thing. It's not just going to a book and take book. You make a child sit there. Reading doesn't take place. That's what the school libraries have failed. School libraries, most of the schools provide 1 hour or 45 minutes school time, library time. Yes, in our school it is there. But how much of reading takes place? Reading takes place only when the child and the book get connected to each other in his own little world. That government cannot create that. It has to be, government can only support NGOs or voluntary effort and give them encouragement, recognize them. For example, when an officer come and visit a little library, it's an honor to the volunteers, it's an honor to the readers. They will say, oh, and our officer has come. So that way I would say again, and then if they can do festivals, book festivals, not just in Itanagar. Itanagar should not be the center point, as Dr. Varghese Kurian was so much telling about milk, the dairy industry. It has to be where the milk is produced. That's why the National Dairy Development Corporation the headquarters was in Anand, not in Delhi. He refused to have it so long as his lifetime. So like this, libraries and reading activities has to go on where it is needed. People in Itanagar have got much better exposure, they have resources, they can, but not so in a village. You should have small programs like in Chowkham, Namsai, then Anjao, Hailiang, Walong. That is what we have been trying to do in our area. Similarly, Raga. There has been, I'm sure there would not have been any book exhibition held in Raga. So why not some people decide, let's do that. Then the district administration support. They can support with transporting books. That's a very big issue. We need a lot of resources for transporting books from the nearest point. Say Lakhimpur, bringing books from Lakhimpur to Raga. It will be a very expensive thing. So a voluntary group may not be able to do. There the government agencies can help. Or government can either join hand. They can do hand holding. So government can say, look, we'll take care of the other expenses. We'll give prices in books. Now very often the prices are given in terms of many useless things. People are given cash, but cash can be misutilized. Also, there is a possibility that parents may take away the cash given to a child. The child may not have especially in terms of girl children.
Exactly.
There's a possibility that parents will take the money, the girl thing. Whereas if you give in books, it will, even if it's taken by somebody, that person will read. One more person will, book is something, even if you give to someone, it's not a waste. But cash is not the thing. Cash will simply vanish. it'll go out our control. So awards should be given in terms of books, and generously we should give in different. The awards in the schools can be given in the form of books. So the NGOs can be asked, please provide us books. Continue the movement. So like this, they should be able to produce large number of new volunteers from other places, So this is how each one teach many, train many. This is the basic philosophy of the second philosophy of the library movement. First one, as I said, if readers don't come to books, books must go to readers. Second is this: we believe that each one can train many to read, and many to read proficiently.
So I get this question a lot from from many friends, I'd say. Like, they want to, start reading, but they don't know which book to start with. So and there's this quotation goes on where it says that it's not you who choose the book, it's the book who chooses you. So do you believe in that?
Destiny brings you in contact with books. I would say that. Maybe if a book has a life, probably then what you said could be true. But very often we accidentally come upon a book. For example, here are the Roald Dahl books. I just picked up the first book from the roadside in Chennai for just 5 rupees. After a lot of haggling, bargaining, he gave me for 5 rupees. He was not willing to give me. But the moment I started looking at the picture, I started laughing. And then when I came back to Arunachal from Chennai, I went to the school. There was a school in Itanagar. We went there and started. I couldn't read on because I was so much laughing, and the children were also laughing. Every page of the story, we were all laughing together. So this is a way, a book. I had never heard about Roald Dahl before. I have never read, and it has really transformed. But fortunately, the American gift which has come to, we have so many books now. But then I didn't have those books. It came to us much later in 2008. Similarly, another author who is greatly, I'm especially talking in terms of the young people, reading promotion, where you would guide a young person to discover the joy of reading. That is Dr. So's book. His books is very, very delightful, which connects with the young persons instantly and immediately. It just wins over both the grown-up and the child. The Cat in the Hat may be for little higher level, but there's a book, food book. Just you can start with KG class. In fact, I believe that the food book should be there in every Anganwadi and KG school. The thing, left foot, right feet in the morning, feet at night. Children get connected with that rhythmic waves and that happiness of the music flowing in the words. Dr. Seuss was that. He creates that thing, and that I discovered only after the American gift came. So it is probably a destiny. You have something in such. Whereas books, authors like Lewis Carroll, we have, as a little child, we have been hearing about, we have been reading their translations. But to really enjoy Lewis Carroll, then you need to have different levels of your mind. A book can be enjoyed as a little child and grown up as a thing, adolescent. Then again, you can, as a grown up, as a language teacher, educator, or a book lover, you can keep on laughing over the way he plays with words. So this is how you have to connect with a book. It's not we cannot prescribe that this book will make everyone happy. But in a general way, children, we can say that children's books are, for this sort of books. Then there are, in case of children's magazine, the India Book House, I think India Book House launched in 90s, late 80s, a magazine called Target. And Rosalind Wilson was the editor, later thing. Rosalind completely transformed the joy of reading. Target subscription rose up like anything, and people were so eager. And unfortunately, there has been no Target after that. She was simply delightful. Now, of course, Children's World is trying, Dimdima is trying to come up with a very, proactive, reader targeted thing. Dimdima has been doing very well. They have, though it's much smaller, but it has been doing very well. And Children's Book Trust is a very established agency which is well think Children's World has been doing very well. They have been doing a lot of activities also, reading promotion, reading, encouraging writing among the writers. In fact, this is this Association of Writers and Illustrators for Children. That is it's a byproduct, or it has come out of the Children's Book Trust and Shankar's concern for producing good quality writers for children in India. So we are very grateful to all those magazines, writers. So there are, but you need to discover it. Maybe destiny would help you to do that. And we have a fine collection of biographies, and very inspiring biographies, and many of the books are not easily available to a reader in the district library. For example, I would say the biography of Paramveers, all the Paramveer awardees. Now, how many libraries will be able to tell, oh, we have a book, here it is, we have. And similarly, the women scientists, there's an outstanding biography, Leelavati's daughters, the 100 women scientists of India. Very little we know about other than Marie Curie. We don't know many our own women scientists. Now Dr. Janaki Ammal, the government has set up an award in her name, but that is only very casual. We do not know at all their life. So we need books like this, so that I think, and as I was telling, one of the outstanding library authorities who at the age of 34 he passed away, but before that he mastered 20 European languages and 14 Indian languages, and he was the first Indian to become the librarian of National Library. So such a person, his life has to be read. We have to read about things. And then people like a class 10 boy who was so eager to learn. He was working as a cook in the hostel, and he says that with one hand I was holding a book, other hand I was stirring the khichdi, and he rose to become the president, or one of the most respected authorities on Indian culture, adored by the whole world, and including by leaders like Dr. Radhakrishnan and Prime Minister Swami Rangadhathananda, who became the president of Ramakrishna Mission, and wherever he went he set up libraries. Such people, it's a great inspiration. Harinath Dey, he was the first Indian, and he had a scholarship of 1 lakh rupees from the British. And what he didn't do it for himself. He spent the entire money for supporting students in university education in those 1920s. Harinath Dey's life is an inspiration. We have such kind of books. We have Dr. Varghese Kurien's biography. So we have a small collection on Arunachal. And I must say, since you are from Kamle, I would like to also think that the library movement has been instrumental in Tulika bringing out 5 Arunachal languages, story of Gandhiji in 2019 as part of the 150th. This is the Nokte language book. Unfortunately, your Kamle Nishi, it's not with me. The book has Lisa has done the translation. Okay. This is Miju Mishmi. This is Apatani. This is Mishmi. And this is Bodo. And this is Adi.
Great.
So these books were released by the Chief Minister in 2019. This we consider as one of the finest contribution. Though we are not the direct translators, but we have been supporting. We have been a link. Exactly, we are that connecting the reader and the book sort of. So we have connected the Tulika with these writers, and they have been able to bring out. And we also we were instrumental bringing out the first children's book in Mishmi language. This is again story by Madam Mamang Dai, but the story is a Mishmi story. Hambril Mai is a lady. Her, she was the first loom. Sai is loom. Hambril Mai is loom. So that's a story Mamang had published in Tulika. So they wanted a Mishmi language book. So this has come out. This is the first Mishmi language book. So beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. So like these books we have in Arunachal languages, then we will have a really reading society.
Exactly.
This is for example, the latest, I was telling, books are gifted by people. This is the latest, the trees of Arunachal. We have got as a gift from two, 3 friends. So like this people support us. I wish more Arunachal students read Satyajit Ray's stories. They are as good as any adventures and very contemporary Indian style. Then we have Ruskin Bond is there, some Satyanarayan is there. These are all gifted books. These are very good ones. And these old issues we are keeping. We don't dispose of the old issues. Our dream is one day we will be able to bind them and classify them, since the whole entire work is done by volunteers. Yeah. In fact, every library should have, but in Arunachal that I don't know, except state library, how much of it is done. But we are only because of a lack of manpower, because we don't have adult volunteers so much. Only now they are coming,
Okay.
But otherwise we have only school students as volunteers. So obviously they can't do all this. And someone has to be their mentor all the time. And my work takes me all around. So I won't be able to state. I don't belong to any one library. I am available for all whenever there's some programs. Basically I am a resource person rather than a person who is in charge of library. I don't. In charge of libraries are the NGOs or their thing, or the volunteers. I said I am not here to sit and look after the library. My work is to promote reading habit, and that would keep me moving, and that's how it is. Yeah.
So, sir, can we sit there?
Yeah, please. You need light. I think it's getting dark.
So, Uncle Moosa, thank you so much for your little tour in your beautiful library.
Thank you.
One last question I would really put upon you is, what message would you like to give to the young youths of Arunachal Pradesh?
Well, each of you can teach 5 young people to read and train them to read and enjoy reading. That's definitely one message of the library movement. It's not my message alone.
Yeah.
It's the library movement. That's one thing. Secondly, realize that if readers can't come to books, books must go to readers. So you can participate in this process of reaching books to the unreached. Reading deprived is in, so many thousands are there across our state. And we must feel, if we don't feel after getting such a good education, we are ruthless, cruel people. We can't afford to be that.
That's brutal.
We must be compassionate to our people. We must have a sense of feeling that, and we must promote mother tongue literature. That the need of the hour, if Arunachal must become a reading society, all of us should promote our mother tongue to produce small stories, small booklets. We must produce this list. This is our duty, and it's an urgent time has come. You can't wait anymore.
So, sir, one last question.
Yes.
So, you've been getting so many, awards, and like your story suddenly got out there in the main domain. How do you feel about that?
Well, as I have been telling from the very first announcement, that award is not to me personally. It is to the young people of Arunachal who have promoted the joy of reading, helped me to discover, and they themselves discovered in the process. So we are co-passengers in this pursuit of joy of reading. So the immense happiness is there, but I would consider it's a great recognition for their sincerity, their love and affection, their generosity towards a person whom they did not know at all. It was almost a stranger I came, but they have accepted me as one of their own. The Arunachal young people all over the state, we have very good friends, and they have been showering affections on me. So I would consider the real award is meant for them, and it is for them. I have received all these awards on behalf of the people, and I would say that whatever the financial support would come to the library movement, that will also go back to the library movement and to the young people of Arunachal. It is not a personal award in any sense at all.
All right. Thank you so much, Uncle Moosa. Thank you so much for your precious time. We're quite lucky to catch you because you were moving out to Chennai, tomorrow. So viewers, that's all we have for you today. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and quite enlightened by what we, just conversed. Thank you so much for joining with us. This is Emma Dawn signing off. Goodbye.
Thank you, Emma.